All right. So welcome to the new moon creation practice. I'm Heidi, for anyone that doesn't know me that's watching on the replay. And for those of you that are here, thank you for showing up in my life again and again and supporting me. I was so aware of that today, throughout the day, about how incredibly blessed and grateful I am for the people that have come, that are a part of my inner circle, that keep showing up, and then the people that come through that process as friends of friends or connections online or whatever that is. And just to have that instant love and connection feels so good, especially in kind of the craziness of the world that we're all living in right now. So my intention with tonight is to create intention and to focus in on the things that we maybe don't take the time to do, such as, what is my dream? What do I want? What's top of mind? And sometimes I think we get caught. And we talked about this earlier today in our live conversation and our Zoom conversation after, is we get so caught in doing the things that we think we should do, especially as women and mothers and females in the world. And men get caught in this as well. And we just do the thing in autopilot, and we forget that we have a choice, that we always have a choice in how we approach it, in what we choose to add to our plate, in what we get to take off of our plate, in what relationship we want to engage in or not engage in or walk away from. And I think that that's so important. And the way that I learn how to have discernment around that is by checking in with myself. So we're going to start seated, or if you want to lay down already, you totally can. Like, this is just a guided follow my voice thing. So it's totally up to you. If you want to lay down, you can. If you want to stay seated, and just find a really comfortable cross-legged seat. Maybe you want to grab a blanket and put it under your sit bones, or whatever that is for you. And I'm going to guide you through, just follow my voice. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do until I do it. So we're going to relax. First of all, we're going to take the shoulder blades, we're going to slide them together behind the back, and then pull them down and away from the ears. And as you do that, just notice that space that comes in through the front of the chest. Feel that space in the collarbones. And just feel that sense of release as you take those shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll take the focus to the toes. And just notice the toes, notice the soles of the feet. Bring in a sense of ease and peace and lightness, relaxation into the whole foot, bringing it up through the ankle, drawing it up through the shin and calf. Feeling that sense of ease in the body coming up into the knees, bringing it into the thighs, into the pelvis, softening through the hips, the lower belly, and just letting the belly completely relax. So if you have it pulled in, just letting it soften and relax. Softening through the rib cage, feeling that space in the lungs, in the heart, bringing peace and ease up through the spine, all the way up to the shoulders. And then connecting in again with the shoulder blades, making sure that they're still down and away from the ears. Maybe they've slid up, so just letting them come back down, feeling that space, and then letting ease and peace come down the arms, all the way out through the fingertips. Just feeling that sense of flow as it comes all the way up the body and all the way out the arms and down the fingertips. Nothing but peace, nowhere to be except here. Drawing that feeling up through the neck and throat, feeling that sense of release in the jaw. And as you release and relax the jaw, noticing the space that comes for the teeth, the tongue, the lips, relaxing the cheeks completely, allowing them to soften, relaxing the eyes, letting them soften in the sockets. Bringing relaxation up into the forehead, into the space behind the forehead, into the brain, and the whole back of the skull. Just letting that whole space be filled with a sense of ease, a sense of peace, a sense of letting go and being here in your body right now. And then just starting at the top of the head, just taking a scan down, just gently scanning down through the body without any judgment, without any shoulds, without any, I wish I felt differently, but just noticing the body. So starting at the top and slowly letting a wave of awareness, of gratitude, of love for this body come down, starting at the top, and just let it move at whatever pace it needs to. If you find yourself stopping anywhere, just keep it moving. If there's any judgment, just throw that over your shoulder and run down through with a sense of ease and love and awareness. And then once you're all the way down to the soles of the feet, we're going to bring the focus back to the space just in front of the forehead. And in this space, I want you to think about, feel about, bring in, what do I want? And the first thing that pops into your mind, I want you to hold on to that thing. Even if it feels silly, even if it feels like, oh, that's actually not, like, I don't know. And just bring that intention, that dream, that vision, whatever it is, just grab it. Think about what it is, bring some awareness around it. And if there's a couple things that come in, like take all three of them, or don't take more than three. If there's more than three, let's stop there. But if there's a couple things that you can kind of merge together, or maybe they're three separate things, and just let that dream be yours for right now. And just keeping it in that space in front of the forehead. Let's not bring it anywhere else for now. Just think about it, maybe flesh it out a little bit, turn it into a bit of a bigger story, a bigger picture. Maybe it becomes a little bit of a movie that plays out like, ooh, that would be cool. If I had that, you know, this is how I can see it turning into something. And just staying with that, letting it be what it is for a bit. We'll take a few more breaths. And hopefully it's something that's good. Maybe it brings a smile to your face. And then we're just going to let that be. We're going to let that marinate, let that flow, and we're going to move into some movement. So if you're the kind of person that needs to write this stuff down, then grab your paper, quickly write it down. If not, then we'll come up to seated on our mats if you're laying down. And we're just going to move into some gentle movement, and then we'll come back to a guided meditation at the end where we can really own that dream and vision and like put it out into the world. So from here, we're going to take our arms all the way up. We're going to grab onto one wrist and come over to the side. And I don't care which side you do in which order, because whatever I do, we're going to do both sides. So keeping the body straight, so not leaning forward or back, just bringing some space into the side body and breathing here. If you've gone to the point of pain, just come back. Like even if you just come over a little bit and it feels like, ooh, there's the sweet spot, stay there. Make sure you can breathe in and out through the nose. Maybe you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then back up to the top, grabbing the other wrist and coming to the other side. Feeling that space in the body, staying with the breath, opening as much as you can from the hip all the way up to the armpit. And then coming back to center, we'll take the arms down beside us, taking the hands behind, we'll tent the fingertips. So maybe this is enough for you, just bringing some space in through the front of the chest, or if it feels good, maybe lifting the chin. If you want to take the gaze all the way up to the ceiling, you can, but if that's uncomfortable, just going as far as feels good. The intention is to bring some space in through the front of the shoulders, in through the chest, the collarbones, really breathing into the heart space and just releasing as you exhale. So in through the nose and then maybe sighing it out through the mouth. We'll do 2 more of those. In through the nose, nice and deep. Out through the mouth. 1 more in through the nose. And out through the mouth. And then at the bottom of the exhale, back to the regular rhythm of the breath and bring the arms around and give yourself a nice big hug. And then taking the chin towards the chest, rounding forward, and breathing into that space in between the shoulder blades. And also really giving yourself a nice hug of love here. Just acknowledging yourself, your body, taking this time for you. Feeling that space in the upper back, allowing the heart to open so you can receive through the back. And then coming back up to center, we'll take one hand down beside, maybe the fingertips are tented or maybe the hand is flat. And then we'll take the other hand over and we're gonna draw ear towards shoulder. So just breathing into that tension through the neck, releasing as much as you can. Maybe you take the hand out wider if that feels good, or if you're not feeling enough of a release. But again, not going to the point of pain. So just finding that sweet spot and breathing, releasing, inhaling length and space, and releasing on the exhale, letting those shoulders melt away, letting the weight of the world release with the breath. One more breath here. And then coming back to center, we'll go to the other side. So drawing ear towards shoulder, walking those fingertips out as far as feels good. And one side might be tighter than the other. So just honoring that, listening to your body, making sure that it feels really sweet and delicious, and relaxing that shoulder away from the ear. One more breath. And then releasing both hands down, coming back to center. We'll just make some nice big circles with the shoulders. So down and away, up and forward, just as much space as feels good, and moving slowly and just noticing if there's any spots that are kind of catching or tight, maybe staying there for half a movement. And then a few in the opposite direction. Ooh. And then coming back to center. From here, we're going to come over into tabletop. So just making your way into tabletop, however that feels easiest for you. We'll stack the wrists under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, knees are hip distance apart, toes can be curled under or flat, whatever feels best. And we're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, dropping belly, head, chest, and gaze come up. And exhale, pressing shoulder blades towards the ceiling, rounding the head and taking the gaze to the belly button. And then inhale, dropping. So just moving with your breath, creating as much or as little movement in the spine as feels good for you. Really pressing those shoulder blades up at the top, rounding the pelvis under, and then dropping and dipping with the breath, allowing the breath to guide the movement. So starting the inhale before you start the movement, letting the exhale begin, and then following the movement with the breath. And then finishing the round that you're on, we're just going to make some nice big circles with the hips. So whatever direction, however big or small that feels good, maybe you come all the way over the wrists, maybe you just make little circles around the back. Whatever feels good for you, just moving, creating some space. And then a few in the opposite direction. And then coming back to neutral. So just adjusting if you need to. We want the wrists under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. And from here, we're going to walk the hands forward to the front of the mat, and we're going to come down and bring the forehead down to the mat. So maybe this is too much and you want to bring the hands back in, or maybe you need a little more and you can take the hands out farther, taking the forehead to the mat and just melting the heart and chest down towards the mat, allowing the forehead to settle, breathing space into the shoulders, into the upper back, wherever that feels the most release for you. One more breath here. And then coming back up into tabletop. And from here, we're going to set up for pigeon. So this doesn't have to be a graceful setup. We're just going to bring the knee in behind the wrist, taking the shin parallel, at whatever level, toes are pulled towards the shin. And then you want to walk the opposite leg back. So if you look back, just making sure it's coming parallel to the mat or whatever you're on. Maybe you stay here up and that feels like enough. Maybe you come down onto the forearms. Maybe you stack the forearms and bring the forehead all the way down. Whatever version of pigeon feels good for you. Maybe you do it on your back if that feels good, or just sit cross-legged and just coming into the breath. If you're in pigeon on the floor, then taking the hips and squaring them to the mat. And then just settling in at whatever level you're at, and we'll stay here for a few breaths. So bringing as much space and ease as you can into every part that's tense and tight. Being gentle, not forcing it to go deeper. Staying with the breath. Softening the jaw, keeping the face completely relaxed. Two more breaths here. And then coming back up onto the wrists, if you're on the forearms, we'll take that back leg in. And then whatever way, it doesn't have to be pretty, just come back into table and we'll just make a couple of circles with the hips to release. Maybe you take that leg back if that feels good for you and rock it back and forth. Whatever you need to do to release, and then we'll come back into tabletop and come to the other side. So knee comes in behind the wrist, bringing the shin to whatever level of parallel feels good. Looking back, just walking that leg back so it's parallel to the mat. And again, maybe staying up if that feels good. Maybe coming all the way down onto the forearms, or taking forearm on top of forearm and bringing the forehead all the way down, or coming all the way down to the mat. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. So whatever level feels good for you, if you're doing it seated or on your back, just finding a space of ease, staying with the breath. Squaring the hips. Breathing, relaxing the face, softening the shoulders, relaxing the jaw. Keeping everything as soft as you can. 2 more breaths. And then making your way back up into table whenever you're ready. Maybe you take that leg out behind and stretch it out. Maybe you make some circles with the hips, whatever you need to do to release. And then we're gonna make our way over into seated. So coming seated on your mat, legs out long in front. We're gonna inhale the arms all the way up, taking the gaze up, and then exhale, folding forward into a forward fold. So maybe the hands come to the thighs, maybe they come to the knees, the shins, or all the way to the toes, whatever level feels good. And just take and allow the head to drop. Coming into the breath. Maybe you have a slight bend in the knees if that feels better. One more breath. And then coming all the way up, we're going to take the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to flop open wide to the sides. So maybe just sitting up nice and tall if that feels good. You can tap the fingers and take them around the toes. Maybe just sitting here feels good. Maybe you want to come forward, pressing the knees down. Just bringing some space into those inner thighs, keeping the spine nice and long. Staying with the breath. And then when you're ready, we'll release, we'll bring the knees together. And from here, we're gonna make our way onto our backs, and we'll stay on our backs for the rest of the practice. So if you wanna grab a blanket or a pillow or whatever you need just to get super cozy, we'll do a few more moves once we're on our back, but just keep your blanket and pillow close so that you can get cozy without having to move too far. So making your way onto your back, hopefully you can see me. Yeah, perfect. So we're gonna keep the knees bent. Feet are hip distance apart. We're gonna take the hands, well, slide the shoulder blades down the back and away from the ears. And from here, we're gonna take the hands to the outside of the shins, draw the knees in towards the shoulders and then kind of out and wide. So it's a bit of a modified happy baby. And just toes can be relaxed or pulled towards the shins, whatever feels best for you. And just breathing into those inner thighs. Bringing space and release. Staying with the breath, keeping the face relaxed. Just a few more breaths here. If the legs start shaking, just breathing through that. And then drawing the knees in together. Hands can come around the shins or just to the knees and drawing the knees in towards the chest, just coming into a little ball. Maybe you take the forehead up to the knees and rock gently back and forth or side to side. And then releasing down. From here, we're going to take right knee over top of left. A hand can come to each knee, draw the knees in. Maybe this is enough. If you want to go deeper, you can take the hands to the shins, drawing the shins out wide or even to the soles or the toes or the soles of the feet. So whatever level feels good for you. There's no right or wrong here. And don't force it. If you're going to the point of pain, don't do that. Just back off to where you feel a nice opening, where you feel space and ease, where you can breathe without pain, without discomfort. Again, relaxing the upper back and shoulders as much as you can, softening the face. And then unwrapping, we'll take the other knee over top, one hand to each knee, drawing the knees in. Maybe that's enough. Maybe hands come down the shin or to the soles of the feet or the toes. So again, just going to whatever level feels good for you. Maybe one side is tighter than the other. So just honoring that, listening to your body, staying with the breath. And then releasing, unwrapping the knees. We'll take the soles of the feet down to the mat, keeping the knees bent. Arms come down beside the body. Shoulder blades are down the back and away from the ears. We're going to just press into the soles of the feet and gently lift up the pelvis towards the ceiling. And not going super deep here, just gently lifting, keeping the thighs engaged so the knees aren't knocking in or out. And then when you're ready, we'll lay down the spine one vertebra at a time, starting at the top and just slowly letting it come down. Feeling each one touch the mat. The base of the spine comes down last. And just allowing that to settle, we'll take the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to flop open wide to the sides. We'll take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. And just breathing here, feeling into the body. Noticing every part of this beautiful body of yours. Noticing the breath as it nourishes in and creates as it goes out. Sharing love and beauty. And then drawing the knees in together. We'll take the arms out wide to the sides if you have space. If not, they can be down beside the body or wherever you have room. And we'll lift up the hips and just shift them slightly over to the right. And then drop the knees over to the left. So just coming into a gentle twist. Knees can be stacked on top of each other. Gaze comes over opposite shoulder. And just breathing, coming into the final twist. Breathing in and out. Feeling the space in the body that you've created with these gentle, easy movements. And bringing in a sense of gratitude, a sense of ease. And then coming back up to center, pressing into the feet, we'll lift up the hips and shift them slightly to the other side, dropping the knees over to the right or whichever direction you went in. Gaze comes over the left or opposite shoulder. Stacking the knees on top of each other, coming into a twist on the other side. And again, just breathing here, noticing the space, noticing the ease. And then coming back to center. And from here, we'll come into our final resting Shavasana meditation pose. So if you want to grab a blanket or you have one handy, if you want to bring a bolster under the legs or pillow under the head or whatever you want. And just getting yourself nice and comfortable. And just coming into this ease and peace in the body. And noticing what it feels like to be here, to be present, to feel space, to be free from the demands of the day. And in that space, how is it not possible that we can have whatever we want in our dreams and desires? How can it not be possible that those are ours and those are real and they come from inside of us? And if they come from inside of us, then of course we can have them. And in order to have them, we need to feel them in the body. And so we're going to come into a connection with the divine, with higher self, with God, with the universe, whatever that is for you, that higher connection. And we're going to draw that down in through the top of the head. So bringing the focus to the space just above the head and just noticing that space. Finding that connection and then drawing that down through the top of the head. So letting it fill the head completely. Filling the cheeks, filling the jaw, letting it flow down the neck and throat into the shoulders. Going down the arms and out through the fingertips, this sense of connection, this sense of something beyond you, but of you. Drawing that down into the shoulders, letting it fill the heart space and the lungs, filling the rib cage, flowing it down the spine, into the pelvis, the lower belly. A sense of light, of love, connection, of source being you and you being source of all that is. Letting it flow down the thighs, into the knees, out through the shins and calves, into the ankles, and out through the soles of the feet. Letting it flow deep into the earth and circle up and around through infinite space and then down through the top of the head. So this infinite loop of connection, of love, of light, of all that is and all that will be. And as we flow this connection, this infinite knowing, we'll come back to that vision and dream that we had at the beginning. And we'll bring that focus to the front of the forehead and just allowing that vision to unfold again. So bringing your focus to it, bringing your attention to it, your understanding, your knowing. And then again, just letting it play out. Maybe it plays out on a movie screen. Maybe it's even more in depth, more real than it was at the beginning of the practice. And just letting it be, letting it fill you with the joy of it happening right now in front of you, as if it were in this moment already true. And just noticing if there's emotions or colors or people or whatever it is that plays out for you, just really feeling it, really seeing it, embracing it. And then we're going to roll that up and bring it into a ball. We're going to float that down through the head, through the neck, and let it make its way into the heart. So just taking your time if you need to, pulling it down into the heart. And letting it land deeply and completely into the heart. this beautiful dream, this beautiful vision. And then we're going to take the focus to the base of the spine, the sit bones, the base chakra. And we're going to start a flame of just some fire. We're going to start at the base, and we're going to start a little spark of flame, of light, of fire, whatever that is. And we're going to let it grow and ignite and get bigger and allow it to grow up and meet this vision and dream that you have in the heart that's starting to expand, and allowing that base chakra energy of fire, of groundedness, of passion, let that come up into the heart and meld with this dream and with this vision, and allowing that to still be a part of that white light, of that source energy that we brought in and is flowing through the body, and bringing in the heart of love, of truth, and mixing all of that together in the middle of the body, in the heart space, and letting it all blend into this growth of this dream, the growth of this vision, and letting it expand and expand, a mixture of light and fire and love. And we'll let it grow bigger out through the front of the body, so it explodes out through the front, sending it out as far as it needs to go, letting it go and connect with whatever it needs to be, whatever it needs to do, with the trust that it's flowing through you and out into the world. So just letting that expand, letting that feeling of growth and flow expand out as far as it wants to. Maybe being curious about where it goes if you let it, or maybe you direct it in a certain way. So letting it build beyond, flowing out, and dissolving into the distance beyond spaces and places you've ever seen or imagined, connecting with whatever it needs to, that's beyond anything you've dreamed of, so that it can come true. And then we're going to take the focus to the back. So bringing the focus to the back of the heart, to the back of your body. If you're laying down, the back of you that's touching the earth. And I want you to expand the back of your heart. Just notice it expanding and opening. And as you do that, I want you to imagine that dream coming back in through the back in its fullest expression, and receiving it in through the back of the heart, in this rush of goodness and all of the things beyond anything you could have imagined, coming, flowing into the back of the heart, in the truth of this dream being real. And just receiving that, allowing yourself to be open to possibilities that are beyond anything you could think of or dream of or imagine possible. Because that flow of connection, that flow of source, the universe being on your side and wanting your dreams to come true, is all connected together to your dream, and it's bringing it back in through the back of the heart. So just feeling, maybe there's some heat there, maybe there's some deep feeling of love, acceptance, whatever that is, just receiving. And maybe you don't feel anything, just say, I receive. Just say it to yourself internally, I receive this. I receive. I'm open to receiving. I'm open to receiving ways that I never thought of, beyond my wildest dreams. And just let that flow in. You don't have to do anything with it except just receive it into the heart. Let it fill the body up and down, expanding beyond the heart, but keeping it in the body. So letting it fill up to the top of the head and down through the tips of the toes. Letting that dream expand inside of you in full receiving of this or something better. And just staying with that sensation in the body for a few more breaths. not trying to put any words to it, just staying in the feeling, in the sensation, in the knowing, in the peace of this. And then we'll take the focus into the breath and just notice the breath as it goes in through the nose, as it fills up the belly, the chest, the shoulders. Breathing out through the mouth. We'll deepen the breath on the second one, inhaling deeply into the belly, into the chest, all the way up to the shoulders. Sighing it out. And then one more nice deep breath coming back into this space. So breathing in through the belly, into the belly, in through the nose, the chest, all the way up to the shoulders. And then sighing it out. Letting the breath go back to its natural rhythm. And then from here, we're going to gently make our way up to seated, not right now. So just bringing in some gentle movement, maybe shaking the head from side to side. Maybe you take the arms up over the head if that feels good, like stretching the arms up, toes can stretch away, whatever gentle movements feel good. If you don't want to stretch, just gently making your way over onto your side, taking a breath there. Mostly I just want to leave you all sleeping and laying down, but making your way up to seated in a simple cross-legged seat whenever feels good for you. So just taking your time, keeping the eyes closed, moving slowly, and just coming up. We'll take the hands together in front of the heart, and we're just going to rub the palms together gently, creating some heat, and then take the hands over the heart. And just taking a moment of gratitude here for yourself, that you can show up in this space and do this for yourself. So as it feels like maybe a nod or a bow to you, thank you for being here. And just deeply putting that gratitude into your heart. And then being really grateful for the space that you created tonight, for the possibility, for the vision, for the dream, and acknowledging that that did come from you and it is your truth. And there's nothing more to do. You've felt it, you've pulled it in, you've brought reality to it in your body, and you've sent it out. So trust it, let it go, let it be, and let it come back in ways that astound you. Mm-hmm. Taking the hands back together in front of the heart, opening the eyes. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I love you all dearly. Have a beautiful night. I'm going to stop the recording.